This is Problem 11.9 from Chapter 11 of Brigham and Houston's Fundamentals of Financial Management, Concise 9th edition. And like Problem 11.8, this one's also an ethical consideration. All right, well, finance doesn't justify or unjustify ethical considerations. A finance decision is simply a finance decision. So let's go ahead and calculate the numbers and see which one of them makes money and which one of them doesn't make money.
You know where Caitlin is?
All right, so we're going to calculate the NPV and the IRR with and without mitigation. So no mitigation and mitigation. And the weighted average cost of capital under either way you did it, we're given a risk-adjusted weighted average cost of capital of 17%. All right, so it's 17% for both projects. We'll do the cash flows at times 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This project goes all right, so the plant without mitigation costs $240 million and cash inflows $80 million a year for 5 years. All right, so $240 million up front, $80 million a year inflow for 5 years. That's the no mitigation. If we mitigate it by spending an additional $40 million, then it'll be $280 million up front. The annual inflows will be $84 million. All right, so $280 million and $84 million each year. And looking at the differences in there, we'd spend an extra $40 million. You'd spend an extra $40 million, which would make $4 million each year. You're not going to make up the cost difference there. You're going to haul in an extra $20 million, but it's going to cost you $40 million. All right, so we already know that this thing is going to give us an answer that suggests that it costs too much money. The present value of the future cash flows at 17%, that $80 million a year for 5 years comes to a present value of $255,095,000. The initial outlay is the $240 million, which gives me a net present value of a little under $16 million. If we do the $40 million extra spend here, it's actually going to increase the present value of the future cash flows by about $13 million in present value, but it's going to cost $40 million to do it. Not only is it going to reduce the net present value, it actually makes it negative. And here's an instance where the mitigation actually means that you won't do this. Now here's the trade-off. The power from the plant is badly needed. You've got a permit. It's legal to do this and generate the air pollution. If you wanted to be good guys and then spend an extra $40 million, which you're not required to do, well, aren't you a nice guy? The trouble is that it's actually going to make this thing a negative net present value, which will make it a bad idea. You'll be taking $280 million of your shareholders' money and throwing it in the street in exchange for $268. You'll lose $11 million in value. The building a plant with air pollution, on the other hand, will employ people, and you're going to provide 350 good jobs. So you got a choice here. The trouble is that there's no incentive to spend the extra money. There's an incentive not to. From a finance standpoint, you would never build a thing with the mitigation unless somebody forced you to, because it's a money-losing proposition. You would choose the no mitigation option because it's a positive net present value.